honorable thing to do at this point is to end my tenure here at Fox. Now, as much as I have loved doing the show, I cannot bring myself to rule out another presidential run. Oh, be clear, I'm not making that announcement right now. And my timetable is still just what it was before, later this spring. But I agree with Fox that this is the right thing, and now is the right time.
And that was the sign-off of the great Mike Huckabee show on the Fox News Channel on weekends. And here he is, Governor Mike Huckabee.
Hi, Steve.
So good to see you. And, of course, the new book, which I'm holding up, but we'll put it on the screen for your easy viewing pleasure. It's God, Guns, Grits, and Gravy. And you made that hard to say 3 times fast, right?
Something like that, yeah. You know, and I need to tell everybody it's not a book of recipes from the South.
No, I didn't think so.
It's not Southern cuisine. But it does represent, for me, the part of the country. I sometimes talk about the area where I live, and when I try to describe it, I say I live in the land of God, Guns, Grits, and Gravy. And I'm really talking about rural America. I'm talking about that part in the flyover country that is very distinct and different from what I think are 3 cultural bubbles: New York, Washington, and Hollywood. Mm-hmm. But those bubbles control pretty much the culture of America with fashion, finance, government, politics, music,
media,
movies,
yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
But it's very different, the mindset of the people who live in the bubbles, than it is for the people who live out there among the bubbas.
Enough to win back the presidency for the Republicans with the right candidate?
Well, with the right candidate, I think that's very possible. But somebody's got to be able to relate to ordinary, common people who live out there in flyover country. It's not that it's the only people that matter.
Sure.
People on the coast matter.
Sure.
But a lot of the people, I think, living in the bubbles, they don't understand who those folks are. And to the degree to which they can't connect to them, understand them, and communicate with them, it makes it very difficult to win an election.
Well, if anybody wants to know who Mike Huckabee is, if you don't know already, and there are very few who don't, but nonetheless, even if you do, this book is a great read, and you will find out exactly, fair to say, who Mike Huckabee is?
I think so. One of the things, I got a compliment last night, I took it this way. A political observer made the comment, said that she was very surprised when she read the book, because she was expecting a typical book by a politician who might run for something, that it would be very bland, very careful, very cautious. And she said, wow, you were blunt, bold, provocative, earthy. I said, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. The book that was fun to read, that had a real message,
right,
a substantive message, even though the title may belie that. But I wanted it to be written in such a way that would make the reader say, I want to read the rest of this book because it's entertaining and it's informative.
You're not going to tell me if you're going to run, because you're saying you're going to make the decision by spring. But
Yeah.
I'll go under the assumption that you could be that person who could relate to the people that you need to relate to. Is Jeb Bush, is he a true conservative? Is a Common Core and immigration issues concern you when it comes to Jeb Bush?
Jeb will have a lot of issues that he'll make front and center. He was an excellent governor of Florida, and he was a very conservative governor of Florida. We've served contemporaneously during the late 90s and early part of 2000. So I think that people say, well, Jeb Bush is not a conservative. Well, I mean, his whole record says that he was. In fact, I think ideologically he's probably more conservative than his brother. And he practiced in many ways more so. So Jeb's a good guy. And, I think the Common Core issue, I still get hit for it. I'm amazed. I put it in the book because I wanted people to understand, no, I'm not for Common Core. When Common Core was originally conceived, most all the Republican, in fact, I don't know of any Republican governor who wasn't for higher standards. But what we were for was state control, local control.
Right, it's gone the other way.
Oh, it's horrible.
I know my son's in high school freshman, and it's in New Jersey we have it, and it's crazy.
It's united liberals and conservatives on something.
Yeah,
they all hate it. Everybody hates
it. Mitt Romney, should he run?
If he wants to. I mean, he has as much right as anybody else. I mean, it's easy for me to say, well, who should, who shouldn't. My personal thought is everybody out there except me ought to quit. They ought to clear the stage. They should make this easier, Steve. That would be so
but
nice if they would
do that. But could Romney come and
now
now run on an anti-poverty campaign? Is he the guy to do that? Is that believable?
He has to try to sell that. And, if he can, then he'll be the nominee again. It'd be pretty unusual to be the nominee twice, but it's possible.
On the other side, Hillary. Is there anything positive that you could say about Hillary Clinton?
You know, I personally have a decent relationship with Hillary Clinton. I've obviously known the Clintons for a long, long time. Probably know her better than anybody else who's thinking about running for president. Very formidable candidate. I don't think she is as ideologically to the left as Barack Obama, but she is not anywhere near as ideologically to the right as her husband.
And what about the past? I know that the RNC has said fair game. The past is fair game for her and Bill. Fair game?
I'm not so worried about the personal things. I'm worried about the policy things. When she was Secretary of State,
Hold on, we'll finish up.
That's an issue.
Okay, absolutely. We're coming back. Mike Huckabee, more. Don't go away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with former Governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, a possible presidential candidate, again, this time around, author of God, Guns, Grits, and Gravy, and also featured very prominently in the February issue of Newsmax, the magazine, and we will put that up just a second. A great story about the book and you. Congratulations on that. There it is. You could all get your copy of Newsmax. Let me ask you about this, and you were on Jon Stewart, and in your book, I think there are 2 paragraphs on Beyonce and what she means for the culture. And Jon Stewart, we're not going to play it, but Jon Stewart, you know, tore you apart, made an analogy to, well, you like Ted Nugent, you're friends with Ted Nugent. You know, it misses the point. And also, you know, we have a president who invited Common, the rapper Common, to the White House, who urges shooting, I'm paraphrasing his lyrics, but in the way I interpret them, cop shootings and hating the cops and the N-word and demeaning women, and he's a guest at the White House. So, I mean, what kind of culture are we living in?
The backlash that I have had from what is less than a page of a 242-page book, which is a fleeting reference to Beyonce, to me validates the very message of the book, that there is this disconnect between the cultures of Bubbleville and Bubbaville. And, you know, Jon Stewart was pretty merciless last night. And I like Jon.
But you handled it well.
You know, I understand when you go to Daily Show, he's playing it for yucks.
Right.
And yes, he's going to have a good time. So it doesn't bother me. My gosh, I've been through, you know, many elections. So that kind of thing is not a problem. But I feel that he missed it because, like so many other people in the media, it was as if they read the headline that other reporters had made, but they didn't really read the chapter, and they didn't understand the context. The chapter was the culture of crude.
Right.
Now, here's the point that was made. President Obama said that they love Beyonce, his daughters love Beyonce, they love to listen to her music, but he can't listen to her music with his daughters. In an interview with Glamour magazine, he said, I can't do that because it's embarrassing. Here's my point. If it's embarrassing to listen to it with her, might it just be that it's not a good idea for her to listen to it by herself?
Yeah.
And that was the point.
That is crazy. I want to put up on the screen Michael Moore, the great movie American Sniper. I know you saw it just the other day.
I saw it last weekend.
Michael Moore and others on the left. He's not alone, but this was particularly egregious. He tweeted out the following about how we shouldn't. My uncle killed by sniper in World War II. We were taught snipers were cowards. We'll shoot you in the back. Snipers aren't heroes, and invaders are worse.
That's disgusting. It's disgusting. I saw this film. I believe that Chris Kyle was a true American hero who did his duty to this country. He was trained, he was instructed, and he went and he put his life on the line repeatedly, not once but repeatedly. Not because he wanted to kill people, but because he wanted to save the lives of the people who were trying to protect against Islamic jihadism.
Absolutely.
God bless him.
So when a person like Michael Moore, is this who he is, or is he doing this to shock, or what?
That is who he is, and that's what's tragic. I mean, here's a guy who's made several $100 million selling his soap in some of the documentaries that he's done that have been incredibly dishonest, particularly on gun control and, you know, on even the entrepreneurial world and capitalism. He hates capitalism, but he doesn't mind skimming off everything he can and making a big buck off of it. If he hates capitalism, then he ought to live on a $20,000 a year salary, live in a small, you know, unfurnished apartment.
Hypocrite.
Well, see, that's my problem. I don't mind if somebody really believes something and practices it. I'll give you a couple of examples. Ed Begley Jr., Daryl Hannah, strong environmentalists, but they live it out.
Right.
And I respect that. I totally respect that. I mentioned in the book a guy who is the Greenpeace executive director over in Europe. He was flying back and forth from his home and burning up lots of jet fuel.
That's what they're doing at Davos now. They got 1,700
Absolutely.
private jets.
Yes.
Let me ask you, Pope Francis. There's a concern among conservative Catholics about some of the things he said and recently. And you have any concerns? Is he conservative enough? Is he?
There are times
does he send
when
mixed
I wonder.
messages? Yeah.
I think he has sent mixed messages, but I don't believe it's intentional. I think there's still a sense in which he's getting used to the fact that every utterance from his mouth is going to be parsed and taken in so many different ways, and I think he's just having a hard time getting used to that.
Let me ask you, no offense intended. You lost a lot of weight. Everybody knows that. I have some insiders of someone at Fox who I used to work, and they said that Mike Huckabee's going to run for president if he loses a lot of weight. Are you there now?
I'm working on it.
So you are headed in that direction.
Yeah, I am. You know, for me, my health is more important than my weight.
Sure.
I need to lose 30, 35 pounds, and I'll do that.
And but would you run if you don't?
Yeah, because I don't think that,
Is it a gauge? Can we watch you engage? Oh, he's losing the weight.
You can watch it and say that, my wife has certainly been successful in staying on my back. But, I would hate to think that a person is either qualified or unqualified because
No,
of their,
I'm not implying
their
that.
waist
I just
size.
wanted to know.
No, but I think it's important for me more just to do it.
Governor Huckabee, thank you,
Great
sir.
to be with you, Steve.
We're coming
My
back,
pleasure.
folks. Don't go away.